The millionaire arrived home furious. He had just lost the biggest deal of his life. 50 million gone, his empire falling like sandcastles. And then he saw them. In the pool, the maid, his children, the water, the laughter, his children, laughing. How long had it been since he heard them laugh? And in that moment, under the afternoon sun, something inside him broke. Or maybe it healed. Because there are losses that are gains in disguise. Like this, if it touched your soul, it is more than a click. It is a silent hug between those who know what it is to lose everything. Comment how you think this story will end, and if you have not subscribed yet, it costs you nothing, but for us it means a lot. Thank you for being here. Mary Smith got off the bus at the Beverly Hills stop with aching knees and a worn bag hanging from her shoulder. It was 6:30 in the morning. The cold October air cut her face as she walked through wide, silent streets, flanked by mansions that looked like museums. There was no trash on the sidewalks. There were no voices. Only the whisper of the wind among the perfectly pruned trees. She stopped in front of number 47. A black iron gate guarded a 3-story house with a light stone facade, immense windows, and a garden that could hold an entire playground. Mary took a deep breath. She wore comfortable but old shoes, dark pants without a brand, and a white blouse she had ironed the night before until it was perfect. She had no jewelry. She had no expensive perfume. She only had her hands, her experience, and the urgent need for a job. She pressed the bell. The door opened several minutes later. A tall man, about 40 years old, with dark hair combed back and a grey suit of perfect cut, looked at her from top to bottom with an expression Mary knew well, the look of someone used to judging and discarding. "Mary Smith?" he asked without a greeting. "Yes, Mr. Miller." "You are on time, that is good." He opened the door completely but did not move to let her pass comfortably. "The agency said you have experience in cleaning." "Yes, sir." "Good, follow me." Jack Miller walked through the entrance hall without looking back. The floor was white marble with grey veins, so polished that Mary saw her own distorted reflection while she followed him. The walls were decorated with abstract paintings framed in silver. A dark wood staircase went up to the second floor in an elegant curve. Everything smelled like pine cleaner and something more difficult to identify. Absence. Schedule: Monday to Friday, from 7 to 3. Alternating Saturdays if I need it. You will clean the whole house, floors, bathrooms, kitchen, rooms. I take the clothes to the dry cleaner, so that is not your job. You will cook simple meals for my children, nothing complex. Mary nodded, taking mental notes. Jack stopped in the kitchen, a huge room with black granite countertops, stainless steel appliances, and a center island as big as the living room of her old apartment. "The children are 3 years old, twins, Sam and Lily. Do not bother them. Do not play with them. Do not try to teach them. I take care of that." He looked at her with hardness. "Understood?" "Understood, sir. They have a nanny in the afternoons. Your job is to keep the house in order. Questions?" Mary hesitated. "Mrs. Miller." "She is not here." Jack's voice hardened like ice. "And it is not your business." "Excuse me." Jack took his phone from his pocket and looked at the screen with a frown. "I have meetings all morning. The cleaning products are in the utility room at the end of the hall. Start on the first floor and stay away from my office." He left, without saying more. Mary stayed alone in the huge kitchen, feeling the weight of the silence. She took off her coat and folded it carefully over a chair. Then she put on a simple apron she had brought and walked toward the utility room. While she filled a bucket with water and soap, she heard a soft sound, almost quiet. Small steps on the floor above. Then nothing. She went up to the second floor with the cleaning cart. The hallways were decorated with framed photos, Jack in a suit, with a blonde and smiling woman holding 2 babies. Jack cutting a ribbon at the opening of a company. Jack at a gala dinner, surrounded by important people. In no photo did he appear alone with his children. Passing in front of a door slightly open, Mary stopped. 2 small children were sitting on the floor of a huge room, full of perfect toys that no one seemed to have touched. Sam had dark and curly hair just like his father. Lily was identical to him, but with bigger, more scared eyes. Both wore expensive and perfectly ironed clothes. Both were in silence. Sam looked up and saw her. Mary smiled at him gently, but the boy looked away immediately, grabbing his sister's hand. Mary did not enter. She continued her way. She cleaned for 4 hours without rest. She swept, mopped, polished the mirrors, ordered the furniture, vacuumed the Persian rugs. The house was beautiful, but empty. There was no mess. There was no life. At noon, she went down to the kitchen to prepare something simple for the children. She found a fridge full of organic products, fresh vegetables, high-quality meats. She prepared a vegetable puree and shredded chicken, served it on 2 porcelain children's plates, and went up with the tray. She knocked softly on the bedroom door. "Children, I brought you food." Silence. She left the tray on the floor, next to the door, and walked away. When she went down 20 minutes later, the tray was still untouched. At 3 o'clock sharp, Mary said goodbye to Jack, who barely looked up from the computer in his office. "Tomorrow at 7. "Yes, sir." On the bus back, Mary leaned her forehead against the cold glass and closed her eyes. She thought of Sam and Lily, their empty looks, their hands joined as if they were the only thing they had left in the world. She knew that look. She had seen it in other children, in another life. She took an old notebook and a pen from her bag. On the first page, she wrote 2 names, Sam, Lily. Below, a single word, begin. The second day, Mary arrived 5 minutes early. She had slept poorly, with Lily's face stuck in her mind, those big eyes that did not blink, that small hand holding her brother's, as if it were a life jacket. Jack opened the door with the same perfect suit, this time navy blue, and the same closed expression. He did not say hello. He only nodded and went to his office. Mary started in the kitchen. While she cleaned the counter, she noticed something on the floor under the table, a crumpled paper. She picked it up carefully and spread it on the palm of her hand. It was a drawing made with crayons, clumsy strokes, childish, but clear. A blue rectangle, a pool, and 3 stick figures holding hands, 1 taller, 2 small. Above, a bright yellow sun. But there was something more. A 4th figure, larger, drawn with black and red strokes away from the group. Someone had tried to erase it with anger, leaving dark stains on the paper. Mary felt a knot in her stomach. She folded the drawing and put it in her apron pocket. She went up to the 2nd floor. The children were in the same room, sitting in the same place as yesterday. This time Sam was building a small tower with wooden blocks, placing each piece with extreme care, as if he feared it would fall. Lily watched him without saying anything. Mary knelt in front of the door without entering. "Good morning," she said in a soft voice. Sam looked up. Lily did not. "I brought you something." Mary took the folded drawing from her pocket and placed it on the floor in front of the door. "It is very pretty. Who made it?" Silence. "I think it was someone very brave," Mary continued without waiting for an answer, "because drawing what you feel, that costs a lot." Sam dropped a block. He looked at the drawing. Then he looked at Mary. "Mom," he whispered. The voice was so low that Mary almost did not hear it. "Your mom drew it?" Sam shook his head. He pointed to the erased figure. "Mom." Mary understood. The drawing showed a happy day, a memory. But someone, maybe Sam himself, had tried to erase the mother who had left. "Your mom is in your heart," Mary said gently, "even if you do not see her. And that is okay." Lily looked up for the first time. Her eyes were wet. Mary stretched out her hand slowly, without getting too close. "Do you want me to prepare something tasty for you to eat?" Sam looked at his sister. Lily nodded almost invisibly. "Perfect." Mary went down to the kitchen with her heart racing. It was a small step. Maybe tiny, but it was a step. She prepared bear-shaped pancakes, using banana for the eyes and chocolate for the mouth. She served them on 2 colorful plates and took them up. This time, when she left the tray, Sam came closer. He took a plate. He looked at Mary. "Thank you," he murmured. It was the 2nd word he said to her. Mary smiled but said nothing. She only nodded and walked away. In the afternoon, when Jack returned from his meetings, Mary was in the living room, polishing the wood furniture. He entered without looking at her, left the briefcase on the sofa and walked straight to the bar. "Did the children eat?" he asked while pouring a whiskey. "Yes, sir." "Good." He drank the whiskey in one gulp. Mary hesitated. "Mr. Miller, can I ask you something?" Jack looked at her coldly. "What?" "Do the children have any activity? Swimming lessons, music, something?" "No." The answer was dry. "Why?" Mary chose her words with care. "I just thought that, at their age, they need stimulation, interaction. They have toys, they have space, they have everything they need. With respect, sir, they have things, but they do not have—" "What?" Jack came closer, his jaw tight. "They do not have what?" Mary did not step back. "Company." The silence was thick, dangerous. "You know nothing about my children," Jack said in a low, controlled voice. "You do not know what they have been through. You do not know what they need." "You are right. I do not know." Mary held his gaze. "But they do know, and they are not saying it with words." Jack squeezed the glass hard. For a moment, Mary thought he would throw it. But then he turned around and went up the stairs without saying anything else. Mary was left alone in the living room, with the cleaning cloth in her hand and her heart beating hard in her chest. She had crossed a line, but she did not regret it. The following days, Mary and Jack barely spoke to each other. He left early and returned late. She cleaned, cooked, took care of the children without making noise, without bothering, without giving opinions. But something had changed. Sam began to wait for her. Every morning when Mary went up to the second floor, he was sitting near the door with a storybook in his hands. He said nothing. He only looked up and waited. Mary sat on the floor of the hallway outside the room and began to read out loud. Stories of dragons, princesses, adventures in magic forests. Sam listened with attention. Lily, from the back of the room, did too. The fifth day, Lily came closer. She sat next to her brother without saying anything, but close. Mary continued reading as if nothing had changed, although her heart beat strongly. The seventh day, Lily touched the page of the book with a shy finger. "Cat," she whispered, pointing to the drawing. Mary smiled. "Yes, honey, it is a cat." It was Lily's first word in weeks. One afternoon, while Mary cleaned the living room, she heard voices in Jack's office. He was talking on the phone, the tone getting higher, more desperate. "I do not care. That contract was mine. I worked 6 months on that proposal." Silence. "To calm down? I have lost 50 million. How do you want me to calm down?" Mary moved away quietly. She did not want to listen. But Jack's voice followed her, going through the walls. When he came out of the office, his face was distorted, his eyes red. He passed Mary without seeing her and went up the stairs. 10 minutes later, Mary heard a scream. "Enough! Stop crying! I cannot take it any more!" She ran up. The door to the children's room was open. Jack was standing in the center with his hands on his head. Sam and Lily were hugging in a corner, shaking. "Mr. Miller," Mary said with a firm voice. He turned around, his face full of anger and pain. "Get out of here! The children are afraid." "I am afraid too," Jack's voice broke. "I am losing everything, my company, my money, my—" He stopped. He looked at Sam and Lily. He saw their pale faces, their eyes full of tears. "My God," he whispered, "what am I doing?" He dropped to the floor, with his back against the wall, and covered his face with his hands. Mary came closer slowly and knelt in front of the children. She hugged them gently, without saying anything. Sam sobbed against her shoulder. Lily shook. "It is over," Mary murmured. "It is over." Jack looked up. He saw his children hugging a woman they barely knew, looking for the comfort he did not know how to give them. "I am sorry," he said with a broken voice. "I am very sorry." Sam looked at him. Then he stretched a small hand toward his father. "Dad." Jack crawled across the floor and hugged them. The three stayed like that, in silence, while Mary stood up and left the room. In the hallway, she leaned against the wall and took a deep breath. It was a beginning, a painful beginning, but real. The following week was tense. Jack did not scream again, but he did not speak either. He locked himself in his office for hours, making calls, checking documents, trying to save what was left of his business empire. Mary continued with her routine, But now she spent more time with Sam and Lily. She read with them, played simple games, taught them children's songs she had not sung in years. The children began to speak more, to laugh shyly, to look for her when they were hungry or afraid. One Thursday morning, Jack came down to the kitchen while Mary prepared the children's breakfast. He poured himself coffee in silence and sat at the table, watching her. "Are you a teacher?" he asked suddenly. Mary turned around, surprised. "I was." "Why did you leave it?" "I did not leave it. The school where I worked closed for lack of funds. It was a public school in a poor neighborhood." Jack drank his coffee. "And you ended up cleaning houses?" Mary did not answer immediately. She finished preparing the toast and put them on 2 small plates. "I ended up doing what I could to survive." "How long were you a teacher?" 12 years. Jack looked up, surprised. 12 years? "Yes." "And you did not look for another school?" Mary dried her hands on her apron. "I looked. I sent resumes to more than 40 schools. No one hired a 52-year-old teacher when they could have someone 25 for half the salary." For the first time, Jack really looked at her. He noticed the wrinkles around her eyes, her rough hands, her tired posture. She was not just an employee. She was a woman with a history, with losses, with dignity. "I am sorry," he said in a low voice. "Why?" "For treating you like you were nobody." Mary looked him in the eyes. "I am nobody important, Mr. Miller, but that does not mean I do not matter." Jack nodded slowly. "My children, they trust you?" "Yes." "Why?" "Because I listen to them, because I see them, because I do not demand they be perfect." Jack swallowed. "I do not know how to do it." "You can learn." "How?" Mary took the plates and walked toward the door. She stopped before leaving. "Start by being present when you are with them, not just physically." "Really?" That afternoon, Jack closed the computer before 6. He went up to the second floor and entered the children's room. Sam was building a tower with blocks. Lily was drawing with crayons on a large paper. "Can I play with you?" Jack asked. Sam and Lily looked at each other, surprised. "Yes," Sam said after a moment. Jack sat on the floor, clumsy, uncomfortable. Sam passed him some blocks. "Tower. Do you want to make a tower?" "Yes, big." Jack began to stack the blocks. The tower grew, wobbling until it fell with a crash. Sam laughed. Lily did too. And Jack, for the first time in months, smiled for real. Mary watched them from the door, invisible, quiet. She said nothing. She only walked away in silence, letting that moment be only theirs. On Friday, Jack called her to his office. "Mary." "Yes, sir." "I want you to know that I value what you do, not just cleaning, with my children." Mary nodded. "Thank you. I also want to apologize to you for how I have treated you." "It is already forgotten." "No." Jack rubbed his face with his hands. "It is not forgotten, but I want to change. I want to be a better father, a better person." "That is something only you can decide, Mr. Miller." "I know." He paused. "Mary, would you stay longer, a few extra hours? To be with Sam and Lily, I will pay you more." Mary shook her head. "I do not want more money." "Then, what do you want?" She looked at him fixedly. "I want you to be with them too, not just me." Jack swallowed. "I will try." It is enough. On the weekends, Mary did not work, but she thought constantly about Sam and Lily. She imagined what they would be doing, if Jack would keep his promise to spend more time with them, if the children would be okay. The following Monday, when she arrived at the house, she found Jack in the kitchen preparing pancakes. The pancakes were burnt, the kitchen was a mess, but he was trying. "Good morning," Mary said, surprised. "Good morning." Jack pointed to the mess. "I tried to make them breakfast. It did not go well." "It is a good try." "They ate them anyway." Jack smiled with tiredness. "Sam said they tasted like coal, but that they were the best." Mary laughed. "Children are noble." "Yes." They worked together that morning, cleaning the kitchen while the children played upstairs. For the first time, Jack did not lock himself in his office. He stayed close, asking things, learning. "Mary," he said suddenly, Why are they afraid of the water? Mary stopped cleaning. Water? Yes. They do not go near the pool. If I take them to the bath, they cry when I open the tap. Jack leaned against the counter. Before, they loved the water. The nanny told me they used to bathe together, playing with rubber ducks. But after the incident, everything changed. What incident? Jack took a deep breath. My wife tried to drown in the pool, with the children near. Mary felt the floor disappear under her feet. Sam and Lily saw everything. They were 2 years old. I was in a meeting. When I arrived, the paramedics were here. She was alive, but broken. They hospitalized her. The children did not say a word for weeks. My God. She had postpartum depression. I did not see it. I was too busy, too focused on work. Jack closed his eyes. When she left the hospital, she told me she could not stay. That every time she saw the children, she remembered that day. So she left. And she has not come back. Mary came closer and put a hand on Jack's shoulder. I am sorry. Me too. Jack opened his eyes full of tears. That is why I cannot take them to the pool. That is why I am afraid of the water for them. Because I am afraid too. Mary understood then. It was not just the children. It was Jack too. They were all trapped in that trauma, in that fear that no one dared to face. Mr. Miller, Mary said gently, fear does not disappear by ignoring it. It only grows. What do you suggest? That we face the fear together, little by little, with patience. Jack looked at her. How? Trust me. That afternoon, Mary filled a small basin with warm water and took it to the garden. She put floating flowers and colorful rubber ducks. Sam, Lily, she called from the window, come and see. The children came down with caution. When they saw the water, they stopped dead. Nothing is wrong, Mary said calmly. It is just a basin. It is not big. It is not deep. It is safe. Sam shook his head. No. It is okay. You do not have to touch it. Just watch me. Mary put her hands in the water and took out a rubber duck. She made it float, making a soft sound. Lily took a step forward, curious. See? The ducky is happy. It is swimming. Lily stretched out a finger and touched the water. She quickly pulled it back. Very good, Mary said. You are very brave. Sam came closer too. He touched the water with the tips of his fingers. Then he put his whole hand in. Cold, he murmured. Yes, but pretty, right? The children played with the water for 10 minutes. Not much, but enough. Jack watched them from the terrace, with his heart in his throat. When Mary went up, he was waiting for her. Thank you, he said simply. It is just the beginning. I know, Jack looked toward the garden. But it is something. The days turned into weeks. Mary continued with the basins of water, gradually making them bigger, deeper. She added floating toys, bubbles, colors. Sam and Lily began to wait for those moments. They stopped shaking. They began to laugh. Jack joined the sessions, at first only watching, then sitting close, finally putting his hands in the water next to his children. Dad, look, Sam said one day, splashing water with enthusiasm. Jack laughed, a real laugh, deep, full of relief. Mary watched them from the kitchen, drying her hands on her apron. Something was changing. Something deep, invisible, but real. One afternoon, while Mary cleaned the living room, the bell rang. She opened the door and found an elegant woman, about 35 years old, with perfectly styled blonde hair and designer clothes. Yes? Mary asked. I am Alice Vega. I came to see Jack. Mary recognized the name. Alice was Jack's business partner, one of the few people who visited him occasionally. Mr. Miller is with his children. Do you want me to tell him? Alice raised an eyebrow. With his children, Jack? Yes. Alice entered without waiting for an invitation. She walked toward the garden, where Jack was crouching next to the basin, playing with Sam and Lily. Jack, Alice called, surprised. I did not know that. You played with them. Jack looked up. Alice, what are you doing here? I came to talk about the contract with Fernandez. But I see you are busy. Yes, Jack smiled. Can it wait until tomorrow? Alice looked at him like he was a stranger. Since when do you put your children before business? Since recently. Jack stood up and came closer. And I should have done it a long time ago. Alice looked at Mary, who was cleaning quietly near the door. She is... Mary, she works here. Ah. Alice turned her attention back to Jack. You have changed. Yes. Is it good or bad? Jack looked at Sam and Lily, who were playing happily. It is the best thing I have done in years. Alice nodded slowly. All right, we will talk tomorrow. She said goodbye and left, throwing one last curious look at Mary. When the door closed, Jack came closer to Mary. Thank you, he said. Why? For reminding me what matters. 3 weeks after the first day with the basin, Mary made a decision. It was Saturday morning. Jack had left early for an urgent meeting. The children were in the garden, playing with a soft ball. Mary walked toward the pool. It was empty. It had been empty since the day of the incident. Jack had ordered it emptied and covered with a blue tarp that now collected dry leaves and dust. Mary slowly removed the tarp. The bottom of the pool was dirty, covered with dirt and branches. But the structure was beautiful. White tiles, chrome steps, a depth that went from 3 feet to 8 feet. She took a hose and began to fill it. The water fell with a constant hypnotic sound. Mary worked for 2 hours, cleaning, scrubbing, filling. When she finished, the pool sparkled under the midday sun. Sam and Lily came closer, attracted by the sound. Water, Lily said, pointing. Yes, honey, water. Big, Sam added with his eyes wide open. Very big, but safe. Mary knelt next to them. Do you want to try it? Sam shook his head. No, it is okay. You do not have to. But I am going to get in. And you can watch from here, from where you are safe. Mary took off her shoes and got into the water by the steps, slowly. The water reached her knees. She sat on the lowest step. See? I'm sitting. Nothing is wrong. Sam took a step forward, then another. He sat on the edge of the pool with his feet hanging, without touching the water. Lily followed him. Mary waited. She did not pressure, she just waited. 5 minutes later, Sam put a foot in the water. He took it out quickly. Cold. Yes, it is a little cold. But if you stay still, your body gets used to it. Sam put both feet in. Lily did the same. Mary stretched out a hand. Do you want to go down a step? Sam looked at his sister. She nodded. They went down together, holding hands, until the water reached their knees. They stayed there, shaking, but without crying. You are the bravest children I know, Mary said softly. In that moment they heard a car. Jack had returned. He got out of the car and stopped dead, seeing the scene. The full pool, Mary inside the water, his children on the steps. His first instinct was to scream, to forbid, to take them out of there. But then he saw their faces. There was no fear. There was curiosity, caution, but not terror. He walked slowly toward the pool. Dad, Sam called. Water. Yes, son. Water. Jack took off his shoes and socks. He rolled up his suit pants and stepped into the water. He sat on the step next to Mary. Are you okay? He asked his children. Yes, Lily answered. Jack looked at Mary. She saw tears in his eyes. I do not know how to thank you, he whispered. You do not have to. They stayed there for almost an hour, just sitting, just feeling the water, just being together. When they came out, Sam and Lily ran toward their towels, laughing. Jack stayed next to Mary, looking at the pool. My wife tried to take her life here, he said in a low voice, and today my children felt safe in the water again. Because of you. Because of them. They are stronger than you think. Jack nodded. And you too. The following week, Mary arrived earlier than usual. She had forgotten her notebook the day before and wanted to get it before Jack came down. She entered silently through the back door and went up to the second floor. Her notebook was in the children's room, on the small table where she used to read them stories. Passing by Jack's study, she noticed the door was slightly open and the light was on. She peeked carefully. Jack was asleep on the desk, surrounded by papers with the computer still on. He was wearing the same clothes from the day before. He had not gone to sleep. Mary hesitated. She should not meddle. But then she saw something on the computer screen that caught her attention. It was an open email. The subject said, "Final warning, foreclosure." Without wanting to read more, Mary realized Jack was in serious trouble. He had not only lost contracts, he was on the edge of ruin. She pulled back in silence and went down to prepare coffee. 20 minutes later, Jack came down with a haggard face, red eyes. "Good morning," Mary said, pouring him a cup. "Good morning." He drank the coffee in one gulp. "How long ago did you arrive?" "Half an hour ago." Jack nodded. He rubbed his face with his hands. "Mary, can I talk to you?" "Of course." They sat at the kitchen table. Jack looked at his empty cup for a long moment. "I am broke," he said finally. "Or almost. I lost the most important contracts. The banks are pressuring me. I have debts I cannot pay." Mary listened to him in silence. "I'm going to have to sell the house," Jack continued, "and let you go, and look for a smaller place to live with the children." He laughed without humor. "I spent my whole life building this empire, and it fell in 6 months. And do the children know?" "No. I do not want to worry them." Mary took a deep breath. "Mr. Miller, children feel more than you think. They know something is wrong." "I know, but I cannot—" Jack broke down. "I cannot lose this too. I already lost my wife. I already lost my company. I cannot lose this house. It is the only thing they have left." Mary put a hand over his. "They do not need this house. They need you, present, whole, real." Jack closed his eyes. "I do not know if I can be." "You can. You already are." That afternoon, while Mary cleaned the living room, she heard Jack make a phone call. "Yes, I want to put the house up for sale. Yes, as soon as possible. No, no problem." Mary felt a knot in her stomach, not for the house, but for what it meant. The end of a stage, the recognition of a failure, but also maybe the beginning of something more real. 2 weeks later, the visits from potential buyers began. Young couples, investors, businessmen who walked through the house judging, calculating, imagining their own lives there. Mary cleaned with even more care, wanting everything to be perfect. Jack spent the visits locked in his office, not wanting to see how strangers judged his home. Sam and Lily did not understand what was happening, but they felt the tension. They became quiet again, scared. One afternoon, after a particularly arrogant buyer criticized every aspect of the house, Mary found Lily crying in her room. "What is wrong, honey?" "I do not want to go," Lily sobbed. "Go where?" "New house. Far away." Mary hugged her. "Listen. Listen to me. Houses are just walls and roofs. The important thing is to be with the people you love." "But I like it here." "I know. I do too." Mary dried her tears gently. "But your dad loves you very much, and wherever you are together, that will be your home." Sam appeared at the door. "Is Mary coming?" The question hit Mary like a fist in the stomach. She had not thought about it. What would happen to her when they sold the house? "I do not know, honey. I want you to come," Sam said with eyes full of tears. Mary hugged them both, not knowing what to say. That night Jack called her to his office. "Mary, we have to talk." She sat down, preparing for the worst. "I found a buyer. He signs the contract next week. The house will be sold in a month." Mary nodded. "I understand. I found an apartment, smaller, in the city. It has 3 rooms, so the children will have their space." He paused. "But I will not be able to pay you the same salary. Not even half." "It is okay." "No, it is not okay." Jack rubbed his face. "You have done more for my children than anyone. You have saved this family, and I cannot even pay you what you deserve." Mary leaned forward. "Mr. Miller, I do not do this for money." "Then why?" "Because those children need me, and because in some way I need them too." Jack looked at her fixedly. "Would you come with us to the apartment?" I will pay you what I can. I know it is not much, but I will go. Are you sure? Completely. Jack exhaled, relieved. Thank you. The last day at the mansion was a Sunday. Jack had hired a moving company that packed everything in neat, labelled, efficient boxes. Mary walked through the empty rooms, remembering. The hall where she had stood the first day, intimidated and determined. The kitchen where she had prepared so many meals. The garden where Sam and Lily had laughed again. The pool. She came closer and sat on the edge. The water sparkled under the afternoon sun. In a few hours, it would no longer be hers. It would not be Jack's or the children's. It would be just a space empty of memory. Mary? She turned around. Jack was behind with Sam and Lily by the hand. The children wanted to say goodbye to the pool, he said. Mary smiled. It is a good idea. The four sat on the edge with their feet in the water. They stayed in silence for several minutes. Dad? Sam asked. Yes? Does the new house have a pool? No, son. Then where will we swim? Jack looked at Mary. She nodded gently. There is a public pool nearby, Jack said. We can go together when you want. Really? Lily asked. Really? Sam smiled. Is Mary coming too? Yes, Mary is coming. The children clapped, happy. Mary felt tears in her eyes, but she held them back. It was not a time for sadness, it was a time to look ahead. That night, after the children fell asleep on their last night in the mansion, Mary went down to the kitchen to prepare tea. She found Jack sitting in the dark in the living room, looking out the window. Cannot sleep? She asked. No. Jack turned toward her. I keep thinking about everything I lost. Mary sat on the sofa across from him. And about everything you gained. Jack frowned. Gained? I have lost my company, my house, my reputation. But you got your children back. Jack kept silent. When I arrived here, Mary continued, Sam and Lily did not speak, they did not play, they lived in fear. Now they laugh, they swim, they trust. That is not losing, Mr. Miller. That is gaining what really matters. Jack covered his face with his hands. When he spoke, his voice shook. You are right. But it is hard. Seeing everything I built fall down. What you built with money fell down, but what you are building with love, that will stay. Jack looked up. His eyes shone with tears. How do you do it? How do you keep that perspective? Mary smiled with sadness. Because I also lost everything once. My job, my savings, my purpose. I thought my life was over, but then I met Sam and Lily, and I realized that sometimes we lose what we had to find what we really needed. Jack nodded slowly. He stood up and walked toward her. He stretched out his hand. Thank you, Mary, for everything. She shook his hand firmly. You do not have to thank me. This is just beginning. The apartment in the city was small compared to the mansion. 3 rooms, a modest kitchen, a cozy living room with windows that looked out to a quiet street. There was no garden. There was no pool. But there was light. There was warmth. There was space to start again. Mary arrived the first day with a bag of cleaning products and an unshakable determination. She found Jack trying to build furniture, while Sam and Lily ran between the boxes, excited to explore their new home. Good morning, Mary greeted. Good morning. Jack looked up from the floor, surrounded by pieces of a shelf. I have no idea how to put this together. Mary smiled. Let me see. They worked together for hours. Mary organized the kitchen while Jack built furniture. The children played with the empty boxes, building imaginary forts. There was laughter. There was a mess. There was life. In the middle of the afternoon, when Mary was hanging curtains in the living room, Sam came closer shyly. Mary. Yes, honey? Is this your house too? Mary crouched down to his level. I work here, Sam, but I come every day. Can you stay to sleep? The question made Mary feel a knot in her throat. My house is somewhere else, but I will always come back, okay? Sam nodded, although he seemed disappointed. Lily came and hugged Mary. We love you, she whispered. Mary hugged them both with her heart beating hard in her chest. "I love you too very much." Jack watched them from the kitchen door with an expression Mary had not seen before. It was not sadness, it was not worry, it was pure gratitude. That night after the children fell asleep in their new room, Jack and Mary sat on the small balcony with cups of tea. "It is different," Jack said, looking at the street. "Noisier, smaller, but it feels like a home. It is because you are building something real here, not just walls, a family." Jack drank his tea in silence, then he said, "Mary, there is something you need to know." "What?" "Alice Vega, my partner, offered me a job. It is not a big deal. I will be a consultant in her company. The salary is a fraction of what I earned before, but it is stable. That is wonderful." "Yes, but—" Jack hesitated. "It means I will have to travel occasionally. Not much, but some days. And I need to know if I can trust you to stay with Sam and Lily when that happens." Mary looked at him fixedly. "Are you asking me if I will stay with them at night?" "Yes. I would pay you extra, of course. And I would understand perfectly if you cannot or do not want to." "I will do it," Jack blinked. "Are you sure?" "Completely. Those children are important to me. I will do whatever they need." Jack exhaled slowly. "I do not know how to keep thanking you." "Stop thanking me and start trusting yourself. You are doing a good job as a father." Jack smiled weakly. "I am learning. That is enough." The first weeks in the new apartment were for adjusting. Sam and Lily missed the space of the mansion, but they adapted quickly. They discovered that their new room was perfect for building pillow castles. They discovered that the small kitchen meant being closer to Dad while he cooked. They discovered that walking to the nearby park was a daily adventure. Mary set a routine. She arrived at 7, prepared breakfast, helped the children get dressed, played with them while Jack prepared for work. When he left, she cleaned the apartment, prepared meals, read stories, taught songs. At 3, when Jack returned, Mary said goodbye. But something was changing. Jack began to arrive earlier, at 2:30, at 2, sometimes even before. And when he arrived, he did not lock himself in his room with the laptop. He sat on the floor with his children. He played, he laughed, he asked about their day. One afternoon, Mary found him doing a puzzle with Sam, while Lily drew next to him. "You arrived early," Mary commented. "I finished my meetings earlier than expected." Jack placed a piece of the puzzle. "And I wanted to be here. The children are happy." "Me too." Mary smiled and went to the kitchen to prepare the snack. While cutting fruit, she heard the laughter from the living room. The sound filled her with a warmth she had not felt in years. One Friday afternoon, Jack announced he had to travel to New York for work. "It will only be a day and a half. I will leave tomorrow morning and be back Sunday afternoon." Sam and Lily stayed quiet. "Is Mary staying with us?" Lily asked finally. "Yes, Mary will sleep here." The children relaxed visibly. That night, Mary prepared a small bag with what she needed: pajamas, clean clothes, toiletries. When Saturday morning arrived, Jack was already ready to go. "The emergency numbers are on the fridge. The doctor is in my book. If anything happens—" "We will be fine," Mary interrupted him gently. "Go quietly." Jack nodded. He bent down to hug Sam and Lily. "Be good. Obey Mary. I will be back soon." "Goodbye, Dad," the children said together. When Jack left, Mary closed the door and turned to the children with a smile. "Well, what do you want to do today?" Saturday was magic. Mary took Sam and Lily to the park, where they played on the swings and chased pigeons. They ate ice cream at a small stand. They drew with chalk on the ground. They laughed until their stomachs hurt. At night, Mary prepared a simple dinner: pasta with tomato sauce and meatballs. The children ate with appetite, telling stories about the park pigeons and the drawings they had made. After dinner, Mary bathed them. Sam and Lily were no longer afraid of the water. They played with rubber ducks, splashed, laughed. Mary watched them with a mix of pride and tenderness. When she put them to bed, Sam looked at her with serious eyes. "Mary." "Yes?" "Why did Mum leave?" The question fell like a stone in the silence of the room. Mary sat on the edge of the bed and took Sam's hand. Your mum was very sad, so sad she could not take care of you the way she wanted, and she had to leave to try to get better. Is she coming back? Lily asked from her bed. Mary chose her words with care. I do not know, honey, but I know your mom loves you even if she is not here. And you? Sam asked. Are you going to leave? Mary felt her heart break a little. No, I'm not leaving. Promise? Promise. Sam smiled and closed his eyes. Lily did the same. Mary stayed sitting there in the dark, listening to their soft breathing. She thought about her own life, the turns it had taken, how she had ended up here taking care of 2 children who were not hers, but felt like they were. When she went down to the living room, her phone vibrated. It was a message from Jack. Everything okay? Mary answered. Everything perfect. The children are asleep. Rest. The answer came almost immediately. Thank you for being there. I do not know what I would do without you. Mary looked at the message for a long moment before answering. See you tomorrow. On Sunday morning, Mary woke up early. She prepared breakfast and waited for Sam and Lily to get up. When they did, they ate together at the small kitchen table, talking about what they would do when Dad returned. In the middle of the morning, while Mary cleaned, Sam came with something in his hands. Look what I found. It was a small wooden box, hidden in the back of one of the living room cabinets. What is it? Mary asked. I do not know. Open it. Mary opened the box carefully. Inside were old photos. Jack as a young man smiling, a woman with a round belly, radiant, the newborn twins, tiny, perfect. A happy family at the beach, building sandcastles. It is Mom, Lily whispered, looking at one of the photos. Yes, Mary said softly. It is your mum. She looks very happy here. She was pretty, Sam said. She still is, honey. The children looked at the photos for a while, in silence. Mary watched them, seeing how they touched the images with reverence as if they were fragile treasures. Can we keep them? Sam asked. Of course. They are yours. Sam took a photo where the mom held both of them, newborns. He looked at it fixedly. I miss you, Mom, he whispered. Lily hugged her brother. Mary hugged them both. It is normal to miss the people we love, Mary said. But look at everything you have. You have your dad, who loves you very much. You have this house. You have each other. And you have me. Forever? Lily asked. Mary nodded. Forever. When Jack returned that afternoon, he found Mary and the children in the living room looking at old photo albums. Sam and Lily ran toward him. Dad! We found photos of Mom! Jack stayed frozen. He looked at Mary, who nodded gently. He knelt next to his children and looked at the photos. He had not seen them for months. He had kept the box in the back of the cabinet, unable to face those memories. She was very beautiful, he said with a broken voice. Yes, Lily said. Did you love her? A lot. I loved her very much. Still. Jack took a deep breath. Yes, but in a different way now. I love her for having given you to me, for having been part of my life. But we are no longer together, and that is okay. Sam hugged him. We love you, Dad. I love you too, more than anything in the world. Mary stood up silently, giving them space. She went to the kitchen to prepare tea. Jack followed her a few minutes later. Thank you, he said simply. I did nothing special. Yes, you did. You let them remember. You gave them permission to love their mother and move forward. Jack leaned against the counter. I could not do that. I was too afraid. You do not have to be afraid anymore. Jack looked at her fixedly. Mary, what are you to me? The question took her by surprise. I am your employee. No, you are much more than that. You are... He hesitated. You are family. Mary felt tears in her eyes. Thank you. No, thank you. The weeks turned into months. Summer arrived with its suffocating heat. Jack prospered in his new job. He had rebuilt his reputation little by little, with humility and real effort. He was no longer the arrogant businessman who screamed on the phone. He was a respected professional, a present father, a man who had learned to value what was important. Sam and Lily grew. They spoke fluently. They played with other children in the park. They went to the public pool on weekends with Jack and Mary. They were no longer afraid of the water. They no longer had nightmares. One July afternoon, Alice Vega visited the apartment. She brought documents Jack needed to sign. When Mary opened the door, Alice looked at her with renewed curiosity. "You are Mary?" "Yes, ma'am." "I have heard a lot about you." "Yes?" Alice entered. Jack was in the living room with the children, helping them build a castle with blocks. "Jack," Alice called, "I need your signature here." Jack stood up. "Excuse me, Alice, give me a moment." He signed the documents quickly and gave them back to her. Alice put them in her briefcase but did not move to leave. She looked around the modest apartment, at the children playing happily, at Mary preparing snacks in the kitchen. "You have changed a lot," she commented. "Yes. It is good to see you like this, more human." Jack smiled. "It cost me losing everything to learn to be human. And was it Mary who taught you?" Jack looked toward the kitchen. "She showed me the way, but I had to decide to walk it." Alice nodded slowly. "You know there are people talking about you in the industry, saying you have risen again, that you are different. And what do you think? I think you are the best version of yourself." Alice stood up. "By the way, I have a proposal for you." "What kind of proposal?" "An important client is looking for a senior consultant. The contract is big, very big, and I thought of you." Jack stayed quiet. "How big?" "Enough so you can buy another house, a nice one, with a garden." The temptation was obvious, but Jack looked at Sam and Lily, then at Mary in the kitchen. "How much time would I have to give it?" "Many hours, probably like before. Constant meetings, travel, stress." Jack shook his head slowly. "I cannot." Alice seemed surprised. "No. No. I already lived that life, and it almost destroyed my family. I am not going back." But you could have more. Give more to your children." "They already have what they need." Jack came closer to Alice. "They have a present father. That is worth more than any mansion." Alice smiled. "All right. I respect your decision." She headed toward the door, but before leaving she turned. "By the way, that woman in your kitchen, who is she exactly?" "Mary?" "Yes. She is not just a maid, right?" Jack looked toward the kitchen, where Mary was cutting fruit with care, humming a children's song the children loved. "No. She is much more than that." He paused. "She is the person who saved my family." That night, after putting the children to bed, Jack and Mary sat on the balcony as was their habit. "You rejected Alice's offer," Mary said. It was not a question. "How do you know?" "I know you," Jack smiled. "Yes, I rejected it." "Do you regret it?" "No, not for a second." He drank his tea. "Mary, there is something I want to ask you." "Go ahead." "Why do you do it? Why do you stay here, working for so little, when you could be somewhere else?" Mary kept silence for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was soft but firm. "Because a year and a half ago I was nobody. I had lost my job, my savings, my purpose. I felt invisible. And then I arrived here and found 2 children who needed me, a man who was lost. And for the first time in years I felt useful again." "You are more than useful. You are essential." Mary looked at him. "And you are essential to me. This is not just a house where I work. It is my home too." Jack stretched out his hand and took Mary's. "Thank you for staying. Thank you for letting me in." September arrived with its cool breeze and its leaves that began to change from green to golden tones. Sam and Lily turned 4 on a sunny Saturday. Jack organized a small party in the park near the apartment, with bright-colored balloons tied to the benches, a chocolate cake decorated with 4 candles, and some children from the neighborhood the twins had met in their play afternoons. Mary arrived early that morning to help with the preparations. She brought a bag full of snacks she had prepared the night before, ham and cheese sandwiches cut into star shapes, fresh fruit on skewers, homemade cookies with coloured icing. She also brought crepe paper ribbons and streamers she had bought with her own money. "You did not have to do all this," Jack said while helping her decorate. "I wanted to do it," Mary answered, hanging a garland between two trees. "It is their first birthday since everything changed." Jack nodded, understanding. It was the first birthday where the children really seemed happy. The first birthday without the weight of the empty mansion, without the oppressive silence, without the fear. The children came running from the other end of the park, chasing each other with laughter. Sam wore a blue t-shirt with a dinosaur drawing. Lily wore a yellow dress that spun when she turned around. Both had pink cheeks from the excitement and exercise. "Mary, look how many balloons!" Lily screamed. "See, they are all for you." Sam came and hugged Mary's legs tightly. "Thank you." "You are welcome, honey." The guests began to arrive. Children between 3 and 6 years old accompanied by their parents. Some of them came to Jack to greet him, congratulating him on the visible transformation in his children. Others looked at Mary with curiosity, wondering who that woman was who clearly meant so much to the Miller family. Mary organized simple games, sack races, treasure hunts with small toys hidden among the bushes, and a game of musical chairs that made all the children laugh until their stomachs hurt. Jack participated in everything, running clumsily in a sack too small, making funny voices, letting the little ones win. When it was time to sing Happy Birthday, everyone gathered around the table. The cake had 4 lit candles, one for each year. Sam and Lily stood in front of it, holding hands as always, with bright eyes reflecting the small flames. "Make a wish," Jack said, with his voice slightly broken by emotion. The children closed their eyes tightly. Lily squeezed her lips, concentrated. Sam frowned, thinking intensely. Then, at the same time, they blew out the candles. Applause broke out. Mary wiped a quiet tear from the corner of her eye. After eating the cake and giving out the gifts, the children went back to play. Mary sat on a bench apart, watching them. She needed a moment to breathe, to process the happiness she felt, and that sometimes seemed too big for her chest. Jack sat next to her, with 2 glasses of cold lemonade in his hands. He offered her one. "Thank you," Mary said, drinking with gratitude. "No, thank you." Jack looked at his children, who were now playing hide-and-seek among the trees. "Look at them. Happy, free. A year ago I could not even imagine this. They have worked hard to get here, you and them. You guided us. Without you, we would still be lost in that huge and empty house." Mary said nothing. She only drank her lemonade and watched Sam find his sister behind a bush, both laughing with that pure laughter that only children have. "Mary," Jack said after a moment. His tone had changed. It had become more serious. "There is something I need to tell you." Mary looked at him, feeling a small pinch of worry. "What is it?" "Alice came back with another proposal 2 weeks ago. I had not told you, because I wanted to think it over before talking to you about it." Mary's stomach tightened. "What kind of proposal?" "She offered me a permanent position in her company, director of consulting. Good salary, very good. Reasonable hours, without constant travel, without excessive stress. I could keep my family balance and still progress professionally." Mary felt a mix of relief and happiness. "Jack, that is wonderful. Why do you look so serious?" "Because there is something else I need to tell you." He took a folded envelope from his pants pocket. "When I accepted the position, I put one condition, one that was not negotiable." "What condition?" Jack gave her the envelope. "Open it." Mary opened it with slightly shaking hands. Inside were formal documents with official letterhead. As she read, her eyes opened wider and wider. It was an employment contract, but not as a maid, as professional family caregiver and educational tutor. The salary was 3 times what she earned now. It included full health insurance, paid vacation, bonus, pension, all full legal benefits. "Jack, it is too much." "No." His voice was firm. "It is exactly what you deserve. It is less than what you deserve, if I am honest. I cannot accept this." "Why not?" "Because I only do what anyone would do." Jack leaned forward, looking at her fixedly. "No, You do what almost no one would do. You entered a cold and broken house. You faced an arrogant and lost man. You took 2 traumatized children under your care, without anyone asking you, and you saved us all. I did not— Yes, you did. Jack pointed to the contract. For more than a year, I have paid you very little. I have had you working more hours than fair. And you never complained. You never asked for more. But I know what you are worth, and now I can pay you what you deserve. Mary felt tears building in her eyes. She looked at the contract, saw her name written with formal ink, saw the numbers that represented not just money, but recognition, respect, dignity. I do not know what to say. Say yes. Mary looked at him, saw the sincerity in his eyes, and finally nodded. Yes, I accept. Jack smiled widely and hugged her. It was a strong hug, full of gratitude and genuine affection. Mary hugged back, feeling something inside her heal. When they separated, Sam and Lily had stopped playing and were watching them from a few yards away. Why are you crying? Lily asked, worried. We are not crying from sadness, Mary explained, wiping her cheeks. We are crying from happiness. Can you cry from happiness? Sam asked, confused. Yes, honey. When the heart is so full that everything does not fit inside. The children ran and hugged them. The 4 stayed like that for a moment, in the middle of the park, surrounded by balloons and cake remains, forming a circle of affection that a year ago seemed impossible. The following months brought a stability that none of them had known before. Jack started in his new position in October. He arrived home every day at 6 o'clock sharp, taking off his tie while he walked through the door. He played with Sam and Lily before dinner. He helped with the baths. He read stories before sleep. Weekends were sacred. He did not check emails. He did not make work calls. He was just present. Mary continued arriving every morning at 7, but now with a different sense. She was no longer just an employee who cleaned and cared. She was an integral part of the family. The neighbors greeted her by name. The teachers at the preschool Sam and Lily now attended knew her as Aunt Mary. Even the building doorman kept packages for her when she was not there. But something unexpected happened in November. Mary arrived on a Tuesday morning and found a woman standing in front of the apartment door. She was blonde, thinner than she appeared in the old photos, with simple clothes, jeans and a wool sweater, and red eyes as if she had been crying. Mary recognized her immediately, although she had never seen her in person. The wife. Hello, the woman said with a shaking voice. You must be Mary. Mary stayed still for a second, processing. Then she nodded. Yes, I am Mary. I am Sarah, Sam and Lily's mother. The words came out with difficulty, as if each one was heavy. I know. Sarah took a deep breath, clearly nervous. Are they here, the children? Yes, they are having breakfast, but Jack is not here. He left early for a meeting. I know. I saw his car leave. Sarah looked down. That is why I came now. I needed to see them, even if just for a moment. From a distance, if necessary. Mary studied Sarah carefully. She saw pain in her eyes, but also something more difficult to define. Determination, hope, fear. She saw a woman who was trying, really trying. Why now? Mary asked gently, without accusation. After so much time. Sarah closed her eyes. A tear ran down her cheek. Because I am finally better. I was 1.5 years in intensive therapy. First in a residential center, then outpatient. I worked on myself, on my depression, on the trauma, on everything. She opened her eyes. And now, for the first time since I tried, since that day in the pool, I think I can be present for them. Not like before. I cannot go back to living here or be a full-time mother, but at least I want to try to have a relationship. If they let me. Mary felt a mix of emotions, instinctive protection towards Sam and Lily, understanding towards Sarah's suffering, uncertainty about what was right. You should talk to Jack first, she said finally. I know, but I am terrified. What if he hates me? What if he closes the door on me? What if he never lets me see them again? He does not hate you, Mary said with absolute firmness. He is hurt. He was very hurt. But he does not hate you. I can assure you of that. Sarah looked at her with surprise and gratitude. How do you know? Because I have been here. I have seen him heal. And part of that healing was forgiving you. Sarah covered her mouth with her hand, sobbing. Really? Really? They stayed in silence for a moment. From inside the apartment, the voices of Sam and Lily singing a song Mary had taught them could be heard. How are they? Sarah asked with a broken voice. The children, are they okay? They are fine, more than fine. They are happy, healthy. Your absence marked them deeply, but they are healing day by day. Because of you? Mary nodded modestly. And because of Jack. He changed completely. He became the father they needed. He is present, loving, patient. Sarah smiled through the tears. That makes me happy, really, to know they are okay, that they have what they need. She paused. Can I at least see them? Just for a moment. They do not have to know I am here. I just want to see them. Mary considered the request. It was risky, but she also understood the pain of a mother separated from her children. Wait here, she said finally. She entered the apartment. Sam and Lily were finishing their breakfast, with milk on their faces and smiles on their faces. Come to the balcony for a moment, Mary said. I want to show you something. The children followed her, curious. Mary took them to the small balcony that looked out to the street. From there they could see the entrance of the building. Do you see that woman down there? Mary asked gently. The children looked. Sarah was standing on the sidewalk looking up. Sam narrowed his eyes. Is it Mom? Mary nodded. Yes. Lily grabbed Mary's arm. Why is she there? Because she wants to see you. She has missed you very much. The children stayed quiet, processing. Mary watched them carefully, ready to comfort them if necessary. Can we go down? Sam asked finally. Do you want to go down? The twins looked at each other. They had one of those silent conversations only close siblings can have. Then they nodded together. All right, Mary said, but slowly. And I am going with you. They went down the stairs in silence. Mary was between the two children holding their hands. When they left the building, Sarah saw them and stayed frozen. Sam and Lily stopped several yards away. Hello, Sarah said with a shaking voice. She did not move closer. She did not want to scare them. Hello, Sam answered. Lily just watched, with her eyes wide open. You have grown so much, Sarah continued, tears running freely now. You are so big, so beautiful. You too, Lily said suddenly, surprising everyone. Sarah laughed through the tears. Thank you, my love. They stayed like that for several minutes, just looking at each other, recognizing each other. Mary did not interfere. She was just there, present, safe. Finally, Lily took a step forward, then another. Sam followed her. They walked slowly towards Sarah until they were in front of her. Why did you leave? Sam asked with a small voice. Sarah knelt to be at their level. Because I was very sick, honey, in my head and in my heart, and I was so afraid of hurting you that I thought the best thing was to leave. You hurt us by leaving, Lily said with a disarming honesty. I know. And I am very sorry. More than words can say. The children looked at each other again. Then at the same time they moved closer and hugged Sarah. She wrapped them in her arms, sobbing openly, whispering, I am sorry, I am sorry, I am sorry, over and over. Mary stayed at a distance, giving them space, but with tears running down her own face. It was a painful and beautiful moment at the same time, a moment of imperfect but real reconciliation. After several minutes, Sam pulled away. Are you going to come back? Sarah shook her head. I am not going to live with you again, but I can visit you if your dad lets me. And if you want. Do you want? Lily asked, looking at Mary. The question made Mary feel a knot in her throat. The children were asking her for permission, trusting her judgment. That is for you to decide, Mary said softly. Listen to your heart. The children thought. Then Sam said, You can come visit us." Sarah sobbed again, but this time from relief and gratitude. Thank you, my loves." That night, Mary told Jack about Sarah's unexpected visit. He stayed quiet for a long moment, looking at his teacup without drinking. "How did she look?" he asked finally. "Better, much better, calmer, more focused, as if she really worked on herself." Jack nodded slowly, processing. "What did you tell her?" "That she should talk to you, that she could not just show up and expect to go back to their lives without your permission." "But the children saw her." "Yes. They asked to go down. I did not force them." "And how did they react?" Mary chose her words with care, with caution, but also with curiosity and with love, because despite everything, she is their mother, and part of them still loves her. Jack rubbed his face with his hands, exhaled long. "I'm afraid, Mary, afraid that she will hurt them again, or that she will appear for a while and then leave again, leaving them even more broken. Fear is normal. It is even healthy. It means you care about protecting them. But I do not know what to do." Mary sat in front of him, taking his hands. "Jack, Sarah is their biological mother, and if she is really better, if she has really worked on her mental health, they deserve to have the chance to know her again. You do not have to forgive her as a husband. That chapter is closed. But as a father, you can consider giving her a chance to rebuild a relationship with her children, with clear limits, with supervision, but a chance." Jack looked at her fixedly. "What if she becomes their mum again and they do not need you anymore?" The question revealed a fear Mary had not considered. She realized Jack was worried not only for the children, but also for her. "That is not going to happen," she said with firmness. "I'm not going anywhere, and besides, children can have more than one person who loves them. Love is not a limited resource." Jack nodded, his eyes shining with tears. "You are right. As always."